Most recently, in a press conference on the 4th of August, our Taskforce man and also Deputy Prime Minister Yong announced that Singapore will need to carry out a fresh review of its economic strategy, with committees formed to develop longer-term plans in 5 areas that include strengthening the country's global competitiveness and improving its startup ecosystem. DPM Gan is also Minister for Trade and Industry and chair the Singapore Economic Resilience Task Force, or SERS, that was formed earlier in 2025 to face the impact of the US tariffs. However, with a complex and fast-evolving landscape, it's important to do a comprehensive review of the Republic economic strategy. Hence, a third work stream on longer-term strategies is needed. Here, have you realized the severity of this? Don't play. This government don't suka change the composition of its member in such a short time. Something is brewing here. In a matter of months, we have seen a reorganization of SERS that focus into 5 major areas, which we will discuss later in this video. Of course, this is directly linked to the property market, but its success or failure will have profound and multifaceted effect on the property market itself. I will explain all this in my video. For the purpose of this video, as usual, let LLB Kokor look into my crystal ball what the 5 committee will do or should do to tackle this issue ahead. I will focus my content mainly on the property market in this instant. This is the first committee. So what is global competitiveness? Very simple in layman terms. Why people want to buy property in Singapore? Well, because Singapore is safe. We respect the rule of law, a stable government, sound policy, and so on. Our policy doesn't always roti prata one. Government say pay ABSD, we pay ABSD. Simple as that. This also means that Singapore must uphold its brand name as a premium global hub for businesses, talent, and investment in a fiercely competitive landscape. So, how should they reinforce this? Simple. Let me give you one good example. Give additional tax incentive for companies to relocate to Singapore. For MNCs that have plans to set up shop here, the Economic Development Board, or EDB, has always played a pivotal role to rope them in and tie up with JTC to set up factory at choice site at attractive terms. But I think more should be done. Singapore need to be bold yet think out of the box. This also applies to tourism and other industry. Singapore need a top salesman to bring them in with attractive remuneration. Someone that can bring in major events like F1 to Universal Studio. You say, I talk sense or not? Not only that, Singapore must look beyond that competitiveness inside us. Have we been too rigid in the way we approach things? Sometimes it will be good if policymakers can just go abroad. For example, just go to nearby Taman Molek or Mount Austin in JB and see how their cafe culture has grown. We need to have more haphazard way of growing our economy organically. We need to have a relook into existing policy on all fronts. Wow, this one very chimney. But I have a solution to this. Please ask all our high-ranking civil servants to go to China. China is the brave new world that adopt AI and technology at breathtaking speed. Just go there and see what they are doing. Approach all the China startups and ask them to open shop here. Simple, let them grow naturally. Yes, they work best without much government intervention. Then ask our local companies to adopt such technology in their workplace. But please don't penalize them. They are only trying to raise their productivity. This is how DBS PayLah with its free $3 cashback that has been a huge success in my opinion. Singaporeans from all walks of life, especially our seniors, always complain don't know how to use technology. But when can claim $3, suddenly all know how to use already. Win liao lor. Based on my recent trip to Shenzhen, it has opened my eyes yet again on this high-tech city. Do you know, when we do payment at their restaurant, we just scan and pay and leave using one app. We don't even need to call them to Maitan. All cashless. They work so efficiently. At the same time, we see delivery men using motorized scooter to carry goods around the city. Back in Singapore, we are still using manual labor to push the trolley. Can you see the difference? More startups in Singapore will also mean an increase in office to warehouse space. If the task force is serious, I think the authority should allocate more JTC factory as subsidized rental for them to grow. This also applies to attract startups all around Asia and beyond to accelerate our competitive edge. Copy, paste, and modify is the most straightforward strategy. Don't need to be shy about that. Don't need to reinvent the wheel. China Unicorn is a great example. In any businesses, business cost is always the major expenses in their operation. The media has already reported that businesses, especially the F&B sector, is closing down due to rising costs. The authorities should seriously look into this, especially the commercial space that is very much given a free hand to evolve on its own. This, in my opinion, has been left unchecked for the longest time ever. I have previously mentioned in my previous video on the rising rental and increased asset prices for commercial space. Hopefully, the task force can relook into this issue seriously before droves of Singaporeans get stuck in Mid-Valley every weekend. Back to entrepreneurship, this is a topic that have to be cultivated from young. Let MOE take the lead. Ask all upper secondary school students to do a final module to raise funds for their business idea. Get them out on the street, not in the classroom. The one that make the most money win. Simple as that. It's just like the show, The Apprentice. We showcase Donald Trump as the deal maker. Interestingly, I think he built up his confidence and deal making skill after the show. Anyway, on any good business idea, you can always approach and write into DPM Kan. He say one, not I say. Anyway, I raised some issue with him on the high COE we are witnessing today. You'll be surprised. I think he's clear his own email rather than his PA. That's why he deserves my respect. Still on entrepreneurship, if you want to start a business idea, go China. That is my take. They have the entire ecosystem, from the downstream to the upstream. That's why they have the most patent in the world to date. China has authorized over 2.53 million patents in the last 5 years, with a 13.5% average annual growth rate. You don't go wrong over this. Back to the property market, more businesses will translate into higher demand for strata title, commercial to industrial space. However, this is an aspect that will take time to evolve. This is a segment that will be talking into human capital. As mentioned in my previous video on rising graduate unemployment and mature worker vulnerability, how it could affect the Singapore property market. I watched all your comments as well as those that privately messaged me to express their appreciation after watching my video. It was indeed a breath of fresh air to some. Well, my take is very simple. I observed both the micro and macro factors that could potentially disrupt the property market. That is why I think the uncertainty in the labour market is really a cause of concern. Unfortunately, many have not read this indicator till it hit the front page. By then, it could well be too late. When Singaporeans lost their job, what will they do? Very simple. They will cut back on expenses and dispose away liabilities such as their car. If that cannot solve the problem, they will have to downgrade or even sell off their investment property. Let's be frank, when people got money, they buy property to build wealth. When people no money, that is the time to sell asset to raise cash. That is why, as I always say, if you want to make $500,000 from property, always be prepared to lose $500,000. Back to jobs, AI outsourcing to competition from foreigners means that Singaporeans will be vulnerable in gaining employment. The government of the day have to take care of Singaporeans. This is a must. This is their mandate in the last general election, where 65% of Singaporeans vote for them. Going forward, policy must be tweaked to favour Singaporeans if the economy worsens. That's for sure. It happened before, so don't be too surprised on it. The inflow of foreigners will be restricted. This will directly impact rental market. If tenants pack their bag and leave, occupancy rate will drop, and this will lead to lower rental rate. Investors may start to think twice about holding their property. When everyone starts to dispose them away, the playing cards may start to collapse on its own. Don't say it won't happen. I have studied the property market since my NUS days. I witnessed both the happy and sad ending before. That's why I always say, don't be too gung-ho, else you will have to pay a heavy price for it. And tolong, please don't hope the government will bail you out. On this committee, I really have nothing much to say. For what I know, the committee may propose more job redesign opportunities. more skill future credit to upskill, enhance employment benefits, and so on. The standard package. Job losses could increase if economic worsen. And what this video by the economic media has mentioned, most of the job losses in the years ahead will be white-collar jobs, obviously due to AI. For those that are in the service trade, they require you to be hands-on. You are safe. If more white-collar jobs is gone, this means company will scale back on leasing demand. Grade A and B office space will not be spared. That's all. Hope you enjoy this content. Please help me to like, share, and subscribe. See you again soon.